Summary of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Introduction. There is a fundamental problem in our modern approach to success. For the last several decades, our culture has become fixated on what Stephen Covey calls the personality ethic. This is a quick-fix approach focused on social image, public relations techniques, and positive thinking hacks that promise immediate results. But these are like aspirins for a chronic illness. They treat the symptoms, not the cause. We are frustrated because we achieve success, yet still feel empty, struggling to build lasting, effective relationships in our personal and professional lives. Covey's central thesis is that this model is flawed to its core. His life's work proves that true effectiveness does not come from polishing your personality, it comes from cultivating your character. He reintroduces the character ethic, an inside-out philosophy based on aligning your life with timeless, universal principles like integrity, fairness, and human dignity. This book is not a set of techniques. It is an integrated framework for personal change. It maps a journey from dependence to independence, and finally to interdependence. This journey is guided by 7 powerful habits, and we will explore his findings through the course of this summary. Chapter 1, Part 1. Paradigms and Principles. Before we can understand the habits, we must first understand the inside-out approach. This entire book is built on the concept of a paradigm shift. A paradigm is the map we use to see the world. It is not the world itself, but our perception of it. Our behaviors and attitudes are the result of the paradigms we hold. The problem is, most of us are trying to change our attitudes and behaviors, which are the fruit, without changing the paradigms that are the root. This is the personality ethic. It is trying to fix our relationships by learning new communication tricks while still harboring distrust. It is a fundamental failure. The character ethic, by contrast, says that to change the situation, we must first change ourselves. We must change our paradigm. This is the inside-out approach. It means starting with our own character, our motives, and our principles. Covey structures this journey along what he calls the maturity continuum. We all begin life in a state of dependence. We are like infants, relying on you to get what we want. Through work on ourselves, we can achieve independence. This is the state of I. I am self-reliant. I can get what I want through my own effort. This is the primary goal of the personality ethic. But Covey argues this is not the ultimate goal. The highest state of maturity is interdependence. This is the paradigm of we. We can combine our efforts to achieve something greater than we could alone. The first 3 habits are designed to achieve the private victory, moving us from dependence to independence. The next 3 habits achieve the public victory, moving us from independence to interdependence. The final habit makes the entire process sustainable. Chapter 2, Part 2. The Private Victory. Habit 1. Be proactive. This is the first and most fundamental habit. Habit 1 is the habit of personal responsibility. It is the realization that you are the creator of your own life. Covey explains that humanity is unique because between stimulus and response, we have a gap. In that gap lies our greatest power, the freedom to choose our response. Reactive people are driven by their conditions, by their feelings, or by the circumstances around them. If the weather is good, they feel good. If someone treats them poorly, they become defensive. They have given away their power to the world around them. Their language is filled with, I can't, I have to, or if only. Proactive people, by contrast, are driven by their values. Their decisions are the product of their own conscious choice. They understand that while they cannot control what happens to them, they have absolute control over how they respond to it. The most practical way to understand this habit is by using Covey's model of the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Your circle of concern contains all the things you care about: your health, your family, your job, the global economy, the threat of war. Inside that circle is a smaller one, your circle of influence. This contains only the things you can actually do something about. Reactive people focus their energy on the circle of concern. They complain about the economy, They worry about the decisions of others, they blame. The result of this negative blaming energy is that their circle of influence actually shrinks. Proactive people focus their time and energy exclusively on their circle of influence. They work on their skills, they improve their relationships, they manage their own health. By working on the things they can control, their circle of influence begins to expand, and they become more effective in every part of their lives. Chapter 3, Part 2, Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. This is the habit of personal vision. If Habit 1 is the realization that you are the creator, Habit 2 is the act of deciding what you want to create. Covey asks us to perform a powerful thought experiment. Imagine your own funeral. What would you want your spouse, your children, your friends, and your colleagues to say about you? What kind of person do you want to have been? What contributions do you want to have made? This end is the frame of reference for your entire life. Habit 2 is based on the principle that all things are created twice. There is a first creation which is mental and a second creation which is physical. Think of building a house. You would never start nailing boards together without a detailed blueprint. The blueprint is the first creation. Yet, we so often begin our lives, our careers, our families, without a blueprint. We simply react to the demands of the day, allowing the agendas and priorities of others to write our life script for us. Habit 2 is the habit of writing your own script. The most practical application of this is the development of a personal mission statement. This is not a list of goals, it is a personal constitution. It defines your core values and principles. It answers the deepest questions. What is my life about? What do I stand for? It becomes the unchanging, principle-centered core from which you make every other decision. It is the definitive blueprint for your life. Chapter 4, Part 2, Habit 3. Put first things. First, this is the habit of personal management. It is the second creation. If Habit 1 is you are the creator, and Habit 2 is write the program, Habit 3 is run the program. This habit is where you apply your personal mission statement to your daily life. It is the discipline of prioritizing your time and energy around your deepest values. The most powerful tool for this is the time management matrix. This matrix divides all activities into 4 quadrants based on 2 factors: urgency and importance. Quadrant I is urgent and important. These are crises, deadlines, and pressing problems. We must deal with them. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, but important. These are the most effective activities: long-term planning, building relationships, exercising, proactive work, and, as we will see, renewal. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. These are the deceptors: many interruptions, phone calls, meetings, and popular activities that feel productive but are not. Quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. This is pure time wasting, trivia, busy work, and mindless distraction. Covey argues that most people spend their lives bouncing between Quadrant 1, crisis management, and Quadrant 4, escape. Reactive people are also easily fooled by Quadrant 3, believing that urgent means important. The highly effective person ignores Quadrant 3 and a V, manages Quadrant 1, and dedicates the majority of their time and energy to Quadrant 2. These are the high-leverage activities that, done consistently, prevent many Quadrant 1 crises from ever happening. This habit requires the courage to say no to the urgent but unimportant, Q3, in order to say yes to the important but not urgent, Q2. This is the physical daily practice of living your personal mission statement. Chapter 5, Part 3. The Public Victory. Habit 4. Think win-win. With the private victory achieved, we now have the character and independence to move to the public victory. Interdependence. Habit 4 is the habit of interpersonal leadership. Covey introduces the 6 paradigms of human interaction. Win-win. This is a frame of mind that constantly seeks mutual benefit. All parties feel good about the decision and are committed to the action plan. Win-lose. This is the authoritarian or competitive model. If I win, you lose. Most of life, in sports, academics, and law, is scripted this way. Lose-win. This is the doormat paradigm. I lose, you win. This person seeks to appease and gain acceptance by letting the other person have their way. Lose-lose. This is the philosophy of a vindictive person. They are so focused on making the other person lose that they are willing to lose themselves. Win. This person thinks only of their own outcome. They don't care if the other person wins or loses as long as they get what they want. Win-win or no deal. This is the highest form of win-win. If we cannot find a solution that is mutually beneficial, we agree to disagree agreeably. No deal is made. This prevents you from being forced into a lose-win or compromise. Win-win is not a technique. It is a total philosophy. It requires two crucial character traits. The first is maturity, which Covey defines as the balance between courage, the willingness to state your own feelings and convictions, and consideration, the willingness to respect the feelings and convictions of others. The second is an abundance mentality, the paradigm that there is plenty out there for everybody. This is the opposite of the scarcity mentality, which sees life as a zero-sum game. Chapter 6, Part 3, Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is the habit of empathic communication, and it is the single most important principle for making Habit 4, win-win, possible. The problem is that most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. We are so busy preparing our own response that we ignore what the other person is truly saying. Covey explains that we listen at several levels, but most of us are stuck in autobiographical listening. We filter everything we hear through our own paradigms and experiences. We respond in one of four ways. We evaluate, agree or disagree, we probe, ask questions from our own frame of reference, we advise, give counsel based on our experience, or we interpret, try to figure out their motives. We are prescribing before we have diagnosed. The solution is empathic listening. This is listening with your ears, your eyes, and your heart. It is a deep, active skill where you are not just hearing the words but reflecting back the feeling and the content of what the other person is saying. You are giving them psychological air. When a person feels truly, deeply understood, the entire dynamic of the relationship changes. Defensiveness melts away, and a space of trust and respect is created. Only after you have genuinely understood the other person's position can you effectively move to the second half of the habit. Seeking to be understood. Chapter 7, Part 3, Habit 6, Synergize. This is the habit of creative cooperation. It is the culmination of all the previous habits. Synergy is the state where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. 1 plus 1 equals 3 or 10 or 100. Synergy is not just teamwork or compromise. Compromise means 1 pa 1 is 1 1 to 2. Both parties give something up. Synergy means 1 pound 1 out 3. A new, better solution is created that neither party had thought of before. The essence of synergy is valuing differences. Most people see differences in perception as a threat to be defended against. The highly effective person sees differences as a creative opportunity. When you combine the win-win motive of Habit 4 with the empathic listening skills of Habit 5, you create the perfect environment for synergy. This leads to what Covey calls the third alternative. You don't go with my way, win-lose, or your way, lose-win. You work together to create a better way, a third alternative that is superior to both. This is the true public victory. Chapter 8, Part 4, Renewal, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. This final habit is the habit of self-renewal. It is the one that makes all the other 6 habits possible. Covey tells the story of a man in the woods, frantically trying to saw down a tree. He has been working for hours, is completely exhausted, and is making no progress. A passerby watches for a moment and suggests, "Why don't you stop for a few minutes and sharpen your saw?" The man replies, "I can't, I'm too busy sawing." In this story, we are the saw. Habit 7 is the discipline of taking time to sharpen ourselves so that we can perform at our highest capacity. This is the ultimate quadrant 2 activity. important but not urgent, that is almost always neglected. Covey states that we must renew ourselves in all four dimensions of our nature: the physical dimension, exercise, nutrition, and stress management; the mental dimension, reading, planning, writing, and learning; the social emotional dimension, making deposits in the emotional bank accounts of others through service and empathy; the spiritual dimension, clarifying your core values, habit 2, meditation, or connecting with nature. When we neglect any one of these dimensions, it impacts all the others. When we cultivate all four, we create an upward spiral of growth. We are on a path of continuous improvement. Learn, commit, do. Learn, commit, do. This is the process of moving to higher and higher levels of effectiveness. Final summary. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a principle-centered framework for a life of purpose. It teaches that we are not victims of our circumstances, but products of our decisions. We have the personal power to choose our response, to write our own life script, and to live a life of integrity from the inside out. By first achieving the private victory of self-mastery, we earn the right to pursue the public victory of deep, synergistic, and effective relationships.
Thanks for listening. If you found this summary valuable, please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts. To support the channel, all links are in the description.